Bronson, so in order for you to feel financially free, you could walk away from everything that you're doing and just sit on a beach for the rest of your life. How much do you think you would need to have set aside in order to do that?
Um, I would say at least 1 million.
Okay. And with that million, do you have an idea as to where it would be housed? Like what sort of an investment it would be sitting in?
I honestly I have no idea.
Okay.
I would guess something with a higher interest rate, um, to collect the interest on it at
Right.
least, but I'm not sure exactly what type of account it would need to be in.
Okay. And a lot of people are kind of in that same boat. They think that they really need to be around $1 million um, to be able to retire or walk away from what it is that they are doing. But when they start to think about, well, where is it going to sit? What sort of return? They're not quite sure. And this is really the fault of the financial services industries. They don't really create a very clear picture. So if it was sitting in something like a retirement account, um, all of the data from like Merrill Lynch, Schwab, Fidelity, Morningstar, Wall Street Journal, you're not going to find any of them that really talk about spending more than 4% of that account on an annual basis.
Yeah,
So when you think about that, well, $1 million at a 4% spend rate, that's only $40,000 a year.
yeah,
And so that's kind of a reality check sometimes as to I may actually need more than that to be able
right.
to have that freedom that I'm after. And the question becomes kind of where are we at and where then do we need to get to? And with that, Brunson, have you ever kind of thought to yourself, if only I was making an extra 10,000 or $20,000 a year, I would be able to get myself to financial freedom quicker, or I would be able to take advantage of some of these opportunities a little bit better. But then a couple
Oh
of
yeah.
years later, what's that?
So yeah, I think
Oh,
about that all the time.
feel it all the time. Okay.
Mhm.
Have you ever taken a look back and realized that just a couple of years ago, where you were saying, I needed that. Today you have that income, but yet you're still kind of spinning your wheels in the same place.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's very, very normal. It's called a treadmill, financial treadmill is what we call it. Do you have any ideas as to why that might be? Why your income keeps going up, but you're still feeling stuck where you were?
Um, you know, it, inflation has some to do with that, but also people tend to live inside their inside their means. If you can afford it, you're going to spend it.
It's kind of like my
So
seafood diet.
yeah,
I see food, I eat it.
yeah. You
If
have
you,
money, you're going to spend it. You live inside your means.
yeah, you actually just identified the single biggest problem that people have in leaping to the other side of where they want to be and hitting that financial freedom. Um, and so what we want to walk through is kind of that visual of how those numbers are flowing and how we wind up stuck on that treadmill and how to get off of that treadmill.
Yeah,
So Bronson, how old are you today?
I am 38.
38. Okay. And most people are wanting to sail off into the sunset at 65, kind of hang it up and sit on a beach of some sorts. Where do you think
Yeah.
you fall on that? Is that what you want to ultimately do, is be able to just hang it all up, or kind of what are your thoughts?
Um, yeah, I think eventually I'm going to want to, you know, do the whole travel thing. The goal is to, I have my business, but to ultimately leave somebody in charge of the business
Okay.
and have to come in once a week and show face. And other than that, just be at home, you know.
Okay. All right. And are you kind of looking at by being able to do that by age 65, a little sooner, a little later? What are your thoughts on that?
That's that's my 10 to 15 year plan.
10 to 15 year?
Yep.
Okay. So about the time you're 55?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
and
I'll never be fully retired. My mentality won't allow me to do that. I'll go crazy,
never fully.
um, but that's by choice,
Sure.
not
Sure.
because I'm forced to work.
Right. But you have that freedom to be able
Correct.
to.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we got about 17. That was the wrong math on that one. Um, there we go. 15 years. That puts you about 53. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So um, currently, what are you looking at right now as far as household income?
Household income, we're roughly, I don't know, about 7,000
Annually or monthly?
a monthly.
Monthly. Okay. So I used to be able to do quicker math in my head. So about 84,000 annually.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we've found from IRS data and other statistics is that income goes up right around 6.9%, 7% on an annual basis. Um,
Mhm.
would as we look at that number, you want to run with what national averages are? Do you want to be a little bit more conservative?
I would say more conservative.
Okay. What would you number would you like to run with on that?
As far as annual income,
Yeah, annual increase of income.
oh, annual increase, I would say let's do like a 4%.
About 4%. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what that means is this year you'll make about 84. Next year, 80, little more than 87, almost 91, and it just kind of compounds each year.
Okay.
Okay. So over the next 15 years, you're going to see about $1.7 million pass through your hands as we aim for that financial freedom period.
Okay.
Okay. Unfortunately, we're not able to save all of that. Life happens, and we have like to do things like sleep inside, eat food,
Yep.
clothes, and so
Hmm.
most of the income winds up being consumed through necessities. And one thing that we have found is that Americans are horrible at saving money. Um, in fact, the national savings rate is less than 4%.
Well,
Where do you think you fall on that as far as the average? Do you think you're at average, a little above, a little below,
I'm definitely below.
a little below? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Like 3%, 4%,
Uh, yeah, 3.
about three. Okay.
Yep.
So what that means is this year you're going to spend 81,480 of those 84,000 that comes in. Okay.
Hmm.
And as income goes up, that means the following year you'll spend about $3,000 more at 84,700. And
Yep.
it kind of goes from there. Okay. Which means at the end of those 15 years, you're going to have captured or saved $50,000.
Okay.
Okay. Is that going to be enough to go hit that freedom that you were after?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Um, So the question is, should we put it under a mattress or go put it to work?
I mean, yeah, put it to work. Depends on the risk you're willing to take, though.
It definitely depends. There are some risks, and there are some things that are safer than others that we can put it into.
Yep.
Um, how risky do you want to be? Do you want to be on the more conservative side or the more risky side?
Um, I would say 70-30 for
Okay.
conservative. Maybe play around with 30%, a
Okay.
little more risk.
All right. With 70-30, that'd put you somewhere about a 6% um, net rate of return after fees and some market volatility
Hmm.
over that period of time. Okay. So that what that means is at the end of those 15 years, we're going to be looking about 79,000
Okay.
we'll have built up. Is that going to be enough to give you the freedom you're after?
No.
Okay. Now, in your scenario, based on what the information you gave me, is there's three ways that we can affect the end result of this account. One, you're aiming for 53. Um, so we have the ability to potentially add some more time into the equation, which
Yeah.
will allow for more savings and more growth. Second, we can chase a higher rate of return, but chasing a higher rate of return also introduces more risk.
Correct.
Um, and then third, we can look at a cash flow structure that prioritizes your financial freedom.
Okay.
So let's first off look at a higher rate of return. Let's assume for a minute that I have a magic wand and I could get you an annual rate of return of 12% without increasing risk.
Yeah.
How much bigger do you think it will make this account at the end of those 15 years?
It'll probably go up to around 300,000 to 400,000.
A 3 to 4? Okay, you're close. The 130, 500.
Oh,
Okay.
I was talking overall. So is that overall or is that
Yep.
129 more?
No, that's getting a 12% rate of return on every dollar that you're able to save over the next 15 years.
Okay.
Okay. Is that going to get you to where you want to be?
No.
Okay. Now the third thing that we can look at, and before we look at maybe adjusting some of the time frame, would be creating an intentional and automated cash flow structure that prioritizes your financial freedom.
Right.
And we'll talk a little bit more a little later on as to how that structure physically looks. But what we'll start off with is what it actually looks like as far as the impact on your finances. Okay.
Okay.
Most of my clients, what they do with the cash flow structure is we put a little bit of constraint on the saving or on the spending. So
Okay.
if income goes up by 4%, what they do is they program it so that it captures half of the increase of income and sends the other half to their checking account. So
Okay.
they spend half, they capture half, which would mean instead of spending the full 4% growth, we just spend 2%.
Right.
If you had an automated system that just did that for you, how difficult do you think that might be?
It shouldn't be very difficult.
Yeah, it's pretty easy because it
Mhm.
just happens. Okay. Now, before
Yeah.
I hit, what's that?
Oh, I was just agreeing with you.
Okay. Before I hit save on this, what sort of an impact do you think this will have on the end results of your account?
In the 15 years,
Uh huh.
um, I don't know, maybe an additional 75K.
An additional 75? Okay. Do you think an additional 75 from where we were at a 6% rate of return or the 12%?
Um, from the 6%.
From the 6%? Okay.
Yeah.
Close. It gave you an extra 300. A little
Holy
more than
crap! What? Okay.
this is the power of a structured cash flow system that is automated and just works behind the scenes for you.
Okay.
Okay, this is why Robert Kiyosaki, when I was coaching for Rich Dad, he was constantly harping on it's not about how much you make, it is about how much you keep.
Gotcha.
And the more that you're able to keep, the more now that you're able to get working for you and producing.
Yeah.
Uh, is you were talking about aiming for the $1 million. We're not quite there yet. We'd need to adjust the time frame. But are
Yeah.
we heading now in a better direction than where we were at?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What if we move this to 60 years?
That's doable.
Okay. Well, it's 60 years. We're almost there.
Okay.
That's
That's
you
assuming my income stays the same and increases the
okay.
4% every
Yes.
year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if your business has a big growth spurt, yeah, we probably get there a bit quicker.
Yeah.
But from a conservative standpoint, 4% increase each year, and putting a cash flow structure in place. By the age of 60, we're close to that $1 million mark that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Pointing to. Okay. So Bronson, if we started working together, where would you want to start and putting your focus first? Would it be rates or chasing a rate of return, or would you want to start by focusing on a cash flow structure that prioritizes your freedom?
Yeah. The cash flow structure that prioritizes freedom, not just freedom, but our goals,
Right.
our 5 to 10 year goals
Okay.
that will allow us to get there, like buying a house,
Right.
all those types of things. So
Awesome. So when should we start digging in and putting that together?
as soon as possible.
All right.